The myth of getting it right. What we lose in chasing perfection and what we find when we stop trying. I can't recall exactly when I began expecting perfection from myself or from life. I suspect it began in childhood when I first felt that love could be withdrawn, that it depended on my behavior, on how well I performed, or how much I pleased others. That subtle conditioning grew roots, shaping how I learned to belong. Our culture rewards that way of being. It builds itself around the illusion of perfection, the flawless body, the successful career, the well-balanced family, the ideal home. From the clothes we wear and the products we buy, to the way we speak about success, we're encouraged to polish the rough edges of our humanity. We internalize the message that if we can just do everything right, life will unfold according to plan. The more we strive, prove, and accomplish, the more control we believe we have, and the more we appear to have it all together. We begin to mistake productivity for purpose and perfection for peace. We aim for flawlessness in every area of our lives, quietly believing that our worth depends on it. But perfection is an illusion. Life doesn't play by our rules or reward our efforts with guarantees. No amount of striving can protect us from heartbreak, loss, or failure. Life knows that perfection isn't real, and it doesn't ask us to be. It asks us to be here, to be awake, to be willing, to be real. The weight of trying to keep everything together eventually becomes unbearable. Sooner or later, something cracks. The image falters. We find ourselves too tired to pretend. And it's often in that exhaustion that grace begins to find us. We can finally see that our striving has been a form of resistance to the imperfect beauty of being human. Richard Rohr writes, "The only perfection available to us is our ability to embrace and love our imperfection." That line resonates with me like a deep breath of fresh air. It reminds me that love and perfection cannot coexist in the way we imagine. Love does not require flawlessness. It requires presence. It grows in the soil of imperfection, in the moments when we allow ourselves and others to simply be as we are. I see this most clearly in motherhood. I've spent years trying to be the perfect mom, showing up with the right tone, creating the right balance between discipline and freedom, managing screen time with wisdom and grace. Yet no matter how hard I try, I never quite meet my own standards. I sometimes feel compassion slipping away, and instead of meeting my humanity with gentleness, I fall into judgment and shame. Perfection isolates, compassion connects. When I begin to soften towards my own imperfections, I noticed how much more patient I am with others. I start to see that everyone carries invisible burdens. Behind every polished photo or confident smile is someone navigating their own uncertainty. Seeing this helps me loosen the grip of comparison and cultivate empathy instead. To release perfection is not to give up on growth. It is to recognize that growth itself is the point. What if perfection isn't a destination, but a continual process of becoming? What if it's less about reaching a flawless state and more about returning again and again to the heart of love? Mindfulness helps with this remembering. It brings me back to what is real, grounding me in the present moment where life is always unfolding in its unfinished form. When I pay attention, I see that beauty and imperfection coexist everywhere. The chipped mug that holds my morning tea, the uneven edges of a child's drawing, the trembling voice that still manages to tell the truth. Life isn't asking for perfection. it's asking for participation. Rohr also writes, people who've achieved a high degree of love, they suffer reality. They allow it, they endure it, they walk with it instead of walking against it. To suffer reality is to allow life to be what it is, to accept that pain and beauty often arrive in the same breath. It's to stop fighting the parts of ourselves or our lives that refuse to fit into tiny categories. It's to walk with what is hard, not because we enjoy suffering, but because love deepens through it. This lesson continues to circle back in my own life. The early wounds that taught me to hide still echo through me. I sometimes believe that I need to be fully healed before I am worthy of love or belonging. But I've learned that pretending to be perfect only strengthens the walls that keep love out. Healing has never come from being flawless. It has come from being honest, from allowing myself to be seen in my unfinished form. There are times when this acceptance comes at a cost. Some relationships will fall away. Some hopes will remain unmet. But even these losses can become invitations into compassion. When I stop demanding perfection from life, I can finally begin to love it as it is. Perfection promises control. Love invites surrender. And only in surrender do we discover what's real. To live an authentic life is to meet ourselves with tenderness in the places we once judged most harshly. It's to extend that same tenderness outward toward a world that is equally unfinished. When we stop insisting that things be perfect, we make room for grace, for beauty that doesn't depend on polish, for love that doesn't depend on worthiness. Perhaps the most honest form of perfection is this: to let life be imperfect and to love it anyway. With warmth and gratitude, Brooke.